What's going on? And welcome to my case study. I'm super excited to have you here, where we're going to take a deep dive into how I was able to drop 30 pounds in 3 to 4 months during the holiday season as a sport sales executive. And I will be talking a little bit fast. And obviously, there will be some visuals. So make sure to have a pen and paper so you can take some notes and get the most out of this case study. So let's jump right in. And before we do that, just want some of you guys, may not know me, some of you may do, but my name is Tyler Jones, and I got my first shot to work in sports sales back in June of 2019 in an inside sales program. And before that, I had just graduated from Rutgers University after 3 years, and I was a personal trainer during my time there at a local Crunch Fitness, which was actually right down the street, where I got the opportunity to help over 100 plus people, hit their weight loss and fat loss goals and build muscle, and along with hitting my own goals as well. And since I became a personal trainer back in 2016, it's going on 7 years. Well, it's 7 years now where I've been in the health and fitness space as a coach. And over the past year, just over a year and a half of those 7 years, I've been an online fitness coach where I've been able to work with over 50 plus people and help them hit their weight loss and fat loss goals, along with building muscle and building sustainable habits and routines they could do for a lifetime. And you'll see a little bit more throughout this case study why I'm so passionate about coaching and helping sports sales executives, because based off of my journey, you'll see the biggest lessons I learned. But I'm super passionate about helping sports sales executives because you guys work so hard, you grind, you put everything you got into your career, but it's easy also to forget about yourselves, just like I forgot about myself along the way, and always be in this, stuck in this all or nothing mentality, and always being, career driven first, and then, F everything else until you get to that success that you want. And that ends up hurting, just like it did for me, it ended up hurting my personal life as well, which you'll see on the next slide. So I'm just super passionate about helping you guys bring, work-life balance, harmony to your lives, so that way you can kill it in your career, make a bunch of money, make a bunch of sales, and rise the ranks, but also have fulfilling relationships, and you're crushing all your personal endeavors and goals that you have outside of your career. So this is how it started and how it ended. Going back to it real quick, these pictures that you see right here, these were actually taken right before I, got started in my position in sports sales. So this picture on the left here was taken a week before my official start date. So you can see I was in shape. I had a lot of muscle. You can see my abs. I was at a low body fat percentage, and things were great. I was very confident and happy with myself. And I mean, I had the time to work on it because I was a personal trainer and my life was revolved around fitness. And on the right, you can see this is my first day, June 4th, where I was taking a picture at the facility that I worked at in sports sales. And for you guys that didn't know, some of you work in the MLB, NBA, minor leagues, NFL. I worked in the NFL that was my first shot in sports sales. So how it started versus how it ended, making that transition, I didn't realize how the grind would impact me physically and mentally. you know, from making 130 cold calls a day, having to commute an hour to and from the stadium and where I was at every morning, and getting to work by 8 a.m. and getting home by 8 p.m. and doing that Monday through Friday, and then also having game days on the weekends. I was not prepared for that lifestyle change that quick. And it sent me into a spiral. Like you can see on the left picture, I was 200 pounds, stressed out, low energy, 23% body fat, partying every single weekend and not working out at all. And my relationships, personal life were falling apart as well. And for that first, and this all happened within like 4 or 5 months, like this, it was crazy how quick it happened for me to gain like 30 pounds. Cause in those past pictures, I was about 168, 170 pounds there, you know, at around, again, my normal 10 to 12% body fat. So again, it happened so quick and it hit me so like hard that I wasn't prepared to like rebound. And guys, I was a trainer for 3 years and been an athlete playing soccer and basketball my whole life, and many other sports like football and lacrosse, that I still had all the information, but I still got knocked down and I couldn't get back up by myself, especially around the grind. So I went back up again, 10 to 12% body fat. And I was putting all this effort into my career and fighting for a promotion that at one point my sales are doing good. And then when my health got off track even more and more, and I stepped digging myself into a deeper hole, my sales started to decline. So now my world was everything I put my effort and focus on, I was losing at that. And I was already losing at all the other things that were important to me in my life. So on the picture on the left, I'm going to show you this is again just December 6th, 2019. And then on the right is March 8th, 2020. And how, again, holiday season, midst of the NFL season, and how I still was able to get started during the holidays. And as you can see on the right, back down to 170 pounds, super high energy, 12% body fat again, working out 3 times per week, and relationships better. And I was making more sales. And guys, on the pictures before, when I was in super lean and had abs, I was working out like 5 times a week, sometimes even 6 during that time. So right here, based off of where I, started on the left, and I was able to get that in only 3 times per week when my mindset was thinking I need to go back to the gym 5. Um, and the truth about how I got back into shape as a sports sales executive was I hired a coach again. So, what got me into the fitness space back in 2016 is from 2015, right after I finished high school, to about back in May, all the way to about, I want to say, April or May. Yeah, April, May of the next following year, I had hired my first personal trainer. And I'd worked with him for about 11 months. I was, again, two-sport athlete, mainly playing soccer and basketball. That was my focus. And although I was good at my sports, I was not fulfilled in how I looked. I lacked confidence, and it definitely hurt my mood a lot. Sorry, guys, allergies are going crazy this year for me. So he helped me hit my goals, and you can see on the left I was skinny fat. You can see how in the pictures I'm so afraid, so unhappy, scared. And then on the right I'm smiling, I'm confident, and in a better place. And on the left I was 145 pounds at 28% body fat, so I was what they call skinny fat. And on the right I got up to 175 pounds at 9 to 10% body fat. So I literally gained a lot of muscle, but it was in like 11 to 12 month period. But you see the big difference when I did it slowly over time. And for me, being in sports sales and going all in on my career and being in that former athlete mindset, my mindset was always trying to conquer Rome overnight. You know, overnight, get to try to do is too much too soon. And by hiring that same coach that I worked with when I first got on my journey, he understood who I was personality wise and was able to give me a lot of support and accountability. And he helped me make this process simple as possible, because he started working with me in an online setting with my workouts and my nutrition and my support. He made it simple as possible. And he helped allow me to stop trying to do too much too soon and being stuck in this all or mentality, and got me back into a place of like, hey, it's a process. It will take time, and being okay with that. So this is going into the next slide. These were the core principles and standards that we focused on, which was nutrition, exercise, sleep, and water. This was the only thing I focused on during those 3 to 4 months' time, but I also didn't focus on all of them at once. I started integrating them, each one in slowly over time. So let's jump right into the nutrition, guys. So for me, again, I went from prepping my meals, taking care of my health, having a good balance of eating out and also eating clean, to maybe prepping 1 or 2 meals a week and just eating fast food the rest of the week. So by doing that, I was never focused on, I was eating a lot of calories, and I was never focused on my intake, because I was always getting grab and go food. And on top of that, since I was also going out every Friday and Saturday, it made it so much easier why those pounds started stacking up quickly in such a short amount of time, because I'm drinking and partying every single weekend. And those are the calories that go unmissed, right? And I was doing it just to deal with my stress, and that was my way of coping. So my nutrition was the first thing that I need to focus on, because it took the biggest hit as well. So just to give you guys an example, what me and my coach worked on and what we broke down is my BMR at the time. So again, like I mentioned before, it was easy for me to be on my feet and work as a personal trainer and burn calories throughout the day because I was on my feet. And now I was in a setting where I was just mainly working at my desk for 9, 10, 11 hours a day. So I really wasn't moving much. So we had to calculate my BMR and where it was at this time around. So we used the formula right there to break that down of where I was at currently. So I knew how many calories I was burning. And then once I incorporated exercising again, that's when, again, you use these based off of these standards. You just multiply whatever this number is by these metrics right here. And that's when you get how many calories you're burning. So, just to give you an example, I put myself in the formula. So, at the time, I was 200 pounds, 5'7", 5'8", give or take, whatever day. And based off of that, my body, this formula said I was burning 1,867.5 calories per day without doing anything, with just getting up, going about my day, going to work, and coming home with no exercise, anything. That's how much I was burning and how much my body was burning, right? So then you take that number and you go off of the formula, right? So I took it right here and I was at 1867. I multiplied it by the 1, 2, because little to no exercise, right? So I wasn't really working out at all. I was just really walking throughout my day and, when I could sometimes on the weekends. So I took that number, multiplied by 1.2, and was 2,241 calories is what it came out to, is how much I was burning, right? Um, and that was my first amount of calories that I had to focus on. And you can see the next thing, it says if you're lightly active, because I started working out 3 days a week once I started to get my nutrition back into play and bring awareness after the first week or two. You can see my calories went up to 2567 once I started working out again. So yes, working out is super important because it helps burn more calories, which means you can sometimes consume more, right? But the goal for my nutrition, for me to drop the weight, was to obviously be in a calorie deficit, right? So this is where I started, and this is where I ended up for pretty much the rest of the time. And the key is that I learned throughout that process, and for all my clients and people I talk to now, is that your macros will change at different times depending on what's changing in your life. If you're getting more sleep, if you're, getting even more active, all those things, your calories might be able to go up and you still might be able to lose weight and body fat. But if you're not getting good sleep, you're not eating well, you're not exercising, and you're just eating a lot of calories every day, they might start on the lower side because your body needs to even out, and so that way it can start to be easier for you to lose the body fat and the weight. So after I got these numbers, I started tracking my food in MyFitnessPal about 6 days a week, and then worked my way up to 7. Sometimes I did 5 on days if I was, pinned for time and working in season, but I never went no less than 5. But pretty much typically the standard was always 6. And I tracked my food in MyFitnessPal so I could keep myself accountable and bring awareness to what I was eating. And you can see the two top things I focused on with the calories were my protein intake and my calories. That was it. I didn't focus on the carbs or the fats because, again, being stuck in that all or nothing mentality, I had to slowly integrate things one step at a time, or I would have gotten very overwhelmed, right? And I probably would have given up because it's just too much to focus on. Focus on nutrition, all the details on that, focus on exercising, all the details on that, sleep, all the details, water, all the details, while still doing my working with my, working at my job, taking care of my relationships, all my other priorities. Like, you can just, by me talking, I even sound overwhelmed, right? So having that coach, again, for the support and accountability to ease me into these things so I didn't get, overwhelmed. So you can see, based off of those numbers, I figured out, again, right here, the number was 2,241. So my first calorie deficit, I always say you never want to be more than 500 calories in a deficit, because then become anything outside of that isn't manageable or sustainable long term. So for me, that first calorie deficit was about 1741, so 1,700 to 1,800 calories, right? Based on not working out and just focusing on my nutrition again and being limited activity. But when I started working out 3 times per week, my calorie deficit now was 2,065 because I was burning about 2,500 calories. So I got to consume a little bit more calories because I was burning a little bit more. So again, another prime example of how it's going to change month to month, or even week to week, or time to time, because, again, it all depends on how many calories your body's burning, and you have to kind of go with the changes as well. So that was nutrition. And just to give you guys a really one quick last thing about, fast food. At the end of the day, fast food is the difference between clean food and fast food is just the micronutrients and how it makes you feel. One makes you feel lethargic and slower digestion. It just makes you feel very tired. Another one makes you feel more energetic, high energy. Feel just good and confident in your body. You're feeling your body with good vitamins and minerals. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing and factor when it comes to losing weight or shedding body fat is a calorie deficit. So it doesn't matter if you eat a lot of clean food and you hit 2,500 calories, but your goal is 2,000 like mine. And if you eat clean food plus some fast food and you hit 2,000 calories, this person on the left is going to lose the weight versus the person on the right is going to cancel out or continue to gain weight. Because again, it's overall amount of food that your body needs in the beginning. That's the most important factor. So for fast food, guys, I do have some guides if you guys ever want me to send them over. But I was able to still have fast food and still lose weight. I still went to Chick-fil-A. I still went to, Chipotle, Panda Express, Popeyes. I just had to, bring awareness, switch up some of the options I went with, and then also track them so that way I can always have awareness and accountability. And that was able for me to go back to the 80-20 rule, which I did in the past, which was 80% of the time I'm eating clean, 20% of the time I'm having fun, and just kind of starting to build that balance. And that was super helpful from my coach because he, brought me back in again off of that all or nothing mentality. Exercise wise, I worked out 3 times per week and did that should say full body days. Sorry, I know it says full upper body days, but I did 3 full body days per week. And I only spent 25 to 30 minutes in the gym first thing in the morning. And I was, again, when I stopped going to the gym, I was super used to going for an hour, working out for 40 to 45 minutes, and then going on cardio for 25, 30 minutes, right? And with my schedule and the long commutes, it just never was going to be able to work anymore, or at least on the weekends or the days I had off, which was maybe 1 day or 2 days a week, right? So we focused more on anything on breaking it up. So I made sure I got my lift in. That was my priority. And then I would stay active throughout the day, even though I was at my desk. So my routine was dumbbell chest press, 3 to 12 reps. But you can bounce from 10 to 12 reps. I did anywhere between, again, 10 to 12 reps, but I just put the 12 there for just so it's easier. I'm not hitting you with a lot of numbers. Goblet squats, single arm dumbbell rows, Romanian deadlifts, lateral raises, and reverse crunches. And this was my routine 3 days a week. Um, and I just did full body days so I could condense the amount of days that I was getting to the gym, but I could hit a little bit more of everything. And I know, again, I had this belief that you had to go all in or you had to do, 5 days, the push pull leg split, all those things like I did in college to see results. And I actually saw a great results from this because something is better than nothing, and that all or nothing again mentality. I'm going to keep saying it and saying it was preventing me from even just doing something, because I kept thinking, what was the point? And all my energy had to go into my sports sales career and making it to that level and keep rising through the ranks. So, and I did this by doing it in the morning. Since my old routines were like an hour and 15 minutes, I had to keep going at 4:50 in the morning. And then again, I started to, fall off that because it just wasn't sustainable. So once I had these 25 to 30 minute workouts, I could get there between like 5:45, 6, get home, eat, shower, and still leave my house by, actually, no, 5:40, 5:30, 5:45, 25, 30 minutes, get there, go home, shower, eat, and then go on my way to the stadium. So I was able to get in more efficient time and also get a little bit more extra sleep. And by doing this in the morning, I started my day off on a win. I had momentum. I had more energy going into making phone calls and prospecting, and I didn't have to worry about it after the day. Since it was already done. So if I needed to stay late at the office, God forbid something happened, or I needed to put in more work, I had the time to do it because I already got my workout done for the day. And that's just what worked for me. Sleep and water. So for the first month, I primarily focused on my nutrition and my exercise. And then month 2, that's when I started to integrate focusing on my sleep and water. So as you guys know, in sports sales, let's be honest, 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day of the week is impossible all the time for most execs. So again, not trying to go all in all the time. I aim for at least half of the week. So 4 days where I would get 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night in the beginning. And then I would add 1 day on when I could stick to the 4 and so on with 5, 6, and 7. And the reason why sleep is one of the most important things to focus on, at least it was for me, is because it affected how I went into my day the next day. So if I was low energy, lethargic, I was probably bringing that energy onto calls with prospects, how many output of calls I could make. And my mentality, like, it was just suffering. So I couldn't really show up my best for my work and not be a good teammate for everyone around me. So I really started focusing on that and also my water. So my goal was a gallon a day. When I got to, getting the habit mastered, but I started with at least half my body weight in ounces, which is 100 ounces, and slowly started working my way up back to a gallon, which is 128. And some tips I have for this, guys, is I was a big coffee drinker. I still like coffee, still drink it every day to this day, but I was hammering out 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day to get through the low energy and me just feeling stuck every day to boost me up. So I started drinking like 20 to 30 ounces of water right when I got up so I could be able to hit my water for the day, but also have more natural energy. So I would definitely say sleep and water are those ones will pay big dividends for all of your overall energy throughout your day. And like I said, added these in after a solid month of doing the first things, one step at a time. And how I've been able to keep the weight off for 4 years now is a rule I call it standards over schedule, which I'm going to dive into next. Always setting new goals. So I always had something to look forward to and always have that motivation. And I think that's the biggest thing with our goals, guys, is even if it's a long-term goal of losing like 50, 100 pounds, 30 or 40, whatever it is, the key is to take that big goal and always break it down into small ones. So you always have something to look forward to. But even after you achieve those goals, we have to, for me, the biggest thing was always setting new goals, because I always had something to look forward to, always something to be motivated about. Same thing with call numbers, right? We hit our goals for calls, we hit our goals for sales, and now every next year our bosses, our managers set new ones. So we always, have a new height to reach, a new challenge. And the same thing works with your health and fitness to just keep us motivated throughout. Always hiring coaches. Again, the support and accountability pays dividends forever. I've been in the health and fitness space for a long time and, hit my goals a majority of the time. And even though I know what I'm doing, we all still need that support and accountability, because at the end of the day, I realize I'm a human and, I can't always do everything on my own. And, what I don't know, what I know is limited. What I always knew and the tips and tricks was limited, even just based off of that experience with the all or nothing mentality. I was always stuck in that and I didn't know what I didn't know. And I always had that belief that I couldn't set time and energy aside for this. Right. But by hiring a coach, he showed me that it was possible. He showed me new ways that were more efficient and that would adapt with my lifestyle. So hiring coaches to have that support and accountability, and always getting involved with the community. Like whether it's friends, people that want the same goals as you. I always say recommend that, because again, you have people to lean on and support you throughout the journey if you don't have a coach, right? It just keeps you more mentally in the game, just like that team aspect, just like when you had a sports team back in the day and you had a lot of camaraderie, you were challenged and motivating each other. Same thing for health and fitness. If you have a community, it makes it 10 times easier. So what is standards over schedule? So this is an example. So pretty much my schedule in sports sales always fell apart probably by midweek. Had my setup with my appointments, how many calls I was going to make, everything, and it never went as planned. Even with my personal life as well. So I would always freak out when my schedule would just fall apart. So this is an example what my schedule looked like at the beginning of the week. I would say I'm going to exercise this day, rest day, Tuesday, exercise, rest day, exercise, rest day, rest day. And then, but what my schedule looked like midweek, I had missed my exercise on Monday because I slept in or I was late at the office. If I ever couldn't go in the morning, I would try to go at night, right? At the worst case scenario, because I hated working out at night. I would miss the exercise, or, Wednesday would roll around, sleep in, would miss my exercise and not go. And that was the pattern again that I was on before, which led me to not, just falling off completely, because I just kept setting goals or setting things I was going to do based off my schedule, not hitting them. But when I started working with this coach and obviously going back on my journey, this is what I focused on: standards over schedule when my schedule did fall apart. So if I missed Monday's exercise, if I missed Wednesday's exercise, I would just shift my days. So I would shift exercising to Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, just as an example. And by doing this, even though I didn't stick to my schedule, I still hit my standards by the end of the week. And that gave me the flexibility that, if I had to sleep in, if I was super low energy, or I got crappy sleep the night before, or I was just very overwhelmed that I could take a day, reset and then move my exercises to other days. And this was super huge for me just with my health and fitness, because it took off this pressure off of me to be perfect and stick to my schedule 24/7, and allowed me to kind of have more freedom. And I started using this, rule for like my call numbers too, because I had 130 calls minimum a day. If I hit 90 or 100 on one day, I know I would have to make those up on other days. So like even if I didn't hit my metrics on certain days, I still had time in the week to make it happen. Same thing for my health and fitness, and even my nutrition. If I didn't track on Monday, I would just shift Tuesday to Sunday for the 6 days. So again, it just gave me so much more freedom. So I hope this rule and just seeing this example could help you just as much as it did me as well. My standards were 3 exercise sessions per week, 6 days of tracking my food, and 1 gallon per day. And like I said, it didn't matter which day I got them done during the week, as long as I finished them before the week was over. So I stopped, missing Mondays and waiting to the next Monday to get started. I just, started pivoting throughout the week, which again, something is better than nothing, always trying to find ways to show up, which kind of, which gave me the motivation to keep it going as well. And where I've been at over the years, ever since I lost that 30 pounds and working in sports sales, the picture on the left is me at the end of 2020. That is me in 2021, pretty much of all the whole time, 2022, and now 2023. And guys, I will not lie and say it's been easy every single year, because it hasn't, because life gets in the way. Things come up. We go through personal problems, which we all have had. I've had, so there have been times when I've fallen off the wagon, at times. But the biggest thing of what I learned from those rules and what my coach helped me with, and how I've been able to sustain it over the last 4 years, is definitely standards over schedule. The week's not over, and just getting myself out of this perfectionist mentality, or everything has to be all or nothing, and to give myself grace along the way, because you don't lose until you actually quit. But if you never quit, you're still in the game, and you still have an opportunity to make shit happen. So that's how the biggest thing for me is just always kind of, again, adjusting with the time periods I'm at, understanding that certain routines haven't worked, that worked in the past may not work now. And the same thing for my clients as well. Seasons are always changing. In season and working game days is different than being in the off season. So we always have to adapt with the times. And I think for me, going through my own journey, and as you can see, the difference between that 30 pounds and like where I'm at today, is the key is to always adapt, and not every and realizing everything's not going to be perfect, and not being stuck in this all or nothing mentality, or it has to be all one way. And lastly, always having that accountability and support. For me, naturally, I always do my best when I'm surrounded in a community, or I have someone like a coach holding me to a higher standard. And that makes me want to, not let other people down. So I would definitely say, if you're struggling like I was back in sports sales, to go out there, to find a community, to find a coach, if you need to help getting back on the wagon, so that way you can start working towards your goals. Because I learned by not getting a promotion in sports sales, that ended my career in sports sales. But I learned the biggest lesson was I will never get to the next step and stage of my life without help, without, someone, other people. So the smartest thing I've done over the last 4 years is still stay in contact with my coach, still, work with other coaches, to always just level up my body, myself, and that way I can always keep having something to strive and chase for. So, guys, I hope this case study and breakdown, I know it was a little bit long, but I hope you got a lot out of it. I got a lot out of breaking it down for you guys. And as always, if you have any more questions, or want more value and stuff, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn. I'll drop my handles for LinkedIn in the comments of this YouTube video. Also follow me on IG as well. But I'm always trying to give as much value to all my sports sales execs out there, and I want nothing more for you guys to be rocking and rolling, not only in your career but also your personal life and relationships. Because once I got back, to my normal self and back in shape. My relationship with my girlfriend got better. My relationship with my parents, my friends got better. And I had just had more energy and desire to do all the things I wanted to do in my life versus being, down and out, low energy, low confidence, and really just kind of accepting this as my new normal and coasting through life. And again, those were some of the biggest things I went through and kept me stuck, and that, ended up not propelling me to a promotion and the next step in my career. So, again, hope this was super helpful for you guys. And as always, Coach Tyler here to help out in any way, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.